You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about Black empowerment. Our show focuses on Black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Koku. Just want to remind you guys before we get the show rolling that this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio. There are other shows on the network you are invited to tune into.
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the pro-Black perspective, where Black problems are addressed with Black solutions.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the revolutionary matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
What's going on? It is Jacadero filling in for Brother Koku. Yes, I apologize. I know you probably expected Brother Koku, but he had some other obligations today, as well as some maybe technical difficulties. I'm not too sure. He didn't explain. I didn't ask. But again, I am Jacadero filling in for Brother Koku on the Better Medicine Podcast, Shoot the Breeze, episode 234. That's right. So if you're just tuning in, I am Jacadero filling in for Brother Koku on Shoot the Breeze, episode 234. And on today's episode, we have a lot. We're talking about Christians and asking, are they out of their minds? Also, should Black governments allow some corruption? I know Black governments, especially in Africa, are known as being overtly corrupt. Should we allow some? Other topics include, is Cuba going to be the next Haiti? And then, do you or your family pour out libations? And if you do, what are the reasons? So once again, we are starting a little bit behind schedule, but nonetheless, we're here. We're here for you. We're here for all of us as the Pan-African collective and Pan-African nationalists. So come one, come all, go ahead and get yourself added. If you want to be a panelist, click the link. Also, again, we have a Discord. That's right, a Discord. So that way you can share whatever thoughts and questions and prompts that you have for Shoot the Breeze episodes each and every week. Again, our Discord is the Better Medicine. So go ahead and register amongst. All right. Buana says, drop the link, Jacadero. We're going to drop the link. Let's see if I should have the link. Should have the link. All right. Well, while I get the link for you guys, we're going to go into our first Shoot the Breeze topic. And it comes to us from a Christian, a proud Christian. Maybe you guys are, especially you guys that are in the hip hop scene, you guys should be aware of this individual. And Shoot the Breeze topic number 1, it asks, are Christians out of their minds, or are we just too sensitive? Once again, are Christians out of their minds, or are we too sensitive? It comes with a video prompt, 2 videos that we can watch and ask. Again, are Christians out of their minds, or are we just too sensitive? In the chat, Cheryl says, greetings. What's going on, Cheryl? Welcome. to the Bitter Medicine podcast, Shoot the Breeze, episode 234. Again, we're going to try to get the link so you guys can be added as a panelist. Oh, there we go. See, so we got the, we got the link. Drop the link. Wanna, come on, huh? So again, the Shoot the Breeze episode 234, topic number 1. It asks, "Are Christians out of their minds, or are we too sensitive?" And this comes with a video. Again, two videos, excuse me, of a popular rapper. Let's find out.
I made this record and I sent it off to my engineer, and he calls me. He said, "Man, you probably shouldn't put this out." I said, "Why? What the hell happened?" He said, "You talking about Epstein, there's a lot of shit going on." And I said, "Thank you for calling me. I'm finna drop this." That's exactly why we need it. Because everybody sit and be silent. And the goal of an artist is to express the times and say all the things that nobody else want to say or know how to say. I'm not perfect, and neither is the president. Was guiltier than a nigga hiding evidence. You can't be mad that they heated if you don't let them vent. Even the devil was heaven sent. Even Malcolm was heaven sent. Even Martin was heaven sent. Even Kanye was heaven sent. We all heaven sent. Donald too. We all heaven sent. Epstein too. We all heaven sent. Adolf too. We all heaven sent. Even you. We all heaven sent. I made this record and I sent it off to my engineer, and he calls me. He said, "Man, you probably shouldn't put this out." I said, "Why? What the hell happened?" He said, you talking about Epstein, there's a lot of shit going on. And I said, "Thank you for calling me. I'm finna drop this." That's exactly why we need it. Because everybody sit and be silent. And the goal of an artist is to express the times and say all the things that nobody else want to say or how to say. I'm not perfect, and neither is the president. Was guiltier than a nigga hiding evidence. You can't be mad that they heated if you don't let them vent. Even the devil was heaven sent. Even Malcolm was heaven sent. Even Martin was heaven sent. Even Kanye was heaven sent. We all heaven sent. Donald too. We all heaven sent. Epstein too. We all heaven sent. Adolf too. We all heaven sent. Even you. We all heaven sent.
All right, and there's a second video that goes with the Shoot the Breeze topic number 1. Are Christians out of their minds, or are we too sensitive, or are we heaven sent? Stand by for second video that goes with this. We all heaven sent, huh? All right.
I've been working, so I ain't got to really be on social media. I cut my shit, I schedule it, and I post, and I get into the world. The homies briefed me yesterday on all the outrage. And my first thought was, niggas ain't that slow. But I go and look, and niggas that slow. Just listen to the music. Like, it's no way niggas hear that clip, and they like, you support Epstein. When the world be in despair, sometimes you need realization. And that realization for me through this song was like, damn, the same God who created Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, who did so many great things, is the same God that created Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, who did so many evil things. And it's crazy the range of what a human life is capable of. It's capable of changing the world and detrimenting the world. That's the purpose of the song. That's my realization of like, damn, this is all from the same place, and look which way it can go when somebody is misguided, when somebody doesn't have all the tools, when somebody just chooses to use their life in a negligent way. And it's insane for niggas to take that and be like, you support Epstein. Like, you niggas is weird. Like, if you want to know where I stand, go look at my life. Go listen to my music. Go see what I do in my community. Go speak to somebody who actually know me. Be fucking for real. It's so crazy how fast it go from black boy fly to get back in line, nigga. Y'all want a nigga to be constricted and restricted so bad. And I'm never not gonna be free. I'm never not gonna be free in my speech and free in my thought and free of my art. Artists and comedians is the niggas who's supposed to express the times and what's going on and communicate it in a way that's like, man, this is what came to me. Y'all love to create enemies and try to bash anybody who has an opposing thought to how you feel. Nigga, I ain't gotta show up how you want me to show up. This shit for me and my people and my base who resonate and connect.
All right. Once again, if you are just tuning in, welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, Shoot the Breeze, episode 234. I am Jacadero, filling in for Brother Koku, and we are starting a bit behind, but we apologize for the inconvenience. Regardless of that, the show must go on. What you were just watching was 2 clips for the Shoot the Breeze. Topic number 1, are Christians out of their minds, or are we just too sensitive? In the chat, Cheryl has laughing emojis. What's going on, Cheryl? Black Steel says, I can't. Cheryl adds, this is the main problem with Christianity. We are all the same. Therefore, accept the nonsense and let all hold hands and ride unicorns together. She also adds, he thinks he's deep. Speaking of intellectually deep, we got a lot of intellectuals, but we're going to start off with hearing from Black Steel. Black Steel, what say you first? Welcome to Shoot the Breeze, episode 234, and what say you?
Welcome. Glad to be here. How you doing, Jacadero?
I'm well.
Doing well.
I'm well. Thank you for asking, and it's good to fill in for our brother Koku.
So, first of all, I don't know who this guy is.
So for those that don't know, that is Bay Area. For those that are not in the United States, California rapper La Russell.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna say this, right? This may ruffle some feathers, but from what I took from what I was saying is that when he said they're all heaven sent, right? He's basically saying that everybody was created by God, right? That from the scripture it says that God is no respecter of persons, right? All these people he named are all God's children, right? And therefore they're all worthy of salvation or damnation based on their actions, right? That's what I interpreted from what I heard from him, right? Not to say that these people were good people, but to quote the Bible verse, all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So in his mind, he's trying to say these people are people like me and you. They're capable of great good, they're capable of great evil, whatever. If somebody is a Christian, religious person, right, they're probably going to resonate with that message because it does. He's basically repeating what it says in the Bible. Basically, hey, we all have sinned. We're all sinners. Even Epstein, whatever. And this is him speaking, like he said, he speaks to it. I'm assuming he sounds like a Christian rapper. You know, they do exist. And he's probably speaking to his fans and his base. I just know it's not for me, right? And I can, everything ain't gonna be for everybody. This is not for me, right? And that's fine. That's the belief he want to hold. So I would not say he's out of his mind, right? Nor would I say we are too sensitive. But I will acknowledge that he is somebody who is repeating, replicating Christian theology, Christian dogma, and basically that, we're all sinners. We all have the potential for great good or great evil, whatever. And that's how he's trying to interpret it. I quite honestly, when I heard him talking, I rolled my eyes a little bit because I'm like, who is this dude talking about, man? If that's the way he want to be, we could talk all night about the harm Christianity has done to African people, the psychological harm, the physical harm. Some people just too far gone, man. And I've come to realize that this is his belief. He want to talk about Donald being heaven sent, and whatever, man. Like, what to me? What's the point of even bringing that up, right? Why even? Oh, he's heaven sent. Okay, and what? Okay, so now that we've established that, now what? What do we do with that? He's sent from heaven. Okay, so now what? So what do we do with this information now that we understand they're all heaven sent? So do we forgive them? Is that what he's leaning towards? Do we forgive them? Do we pray for them? Is that what he's saying? Because I think we've had enough praying for our enemies. I think as African people, we've really gone too far. And if someone's telling you to pray for your enemies, that person's probably your enemy. So I don't know what he's leading with that, but I really do feel as though he's really just trying to express himself through Christian terms about forgiveness and, that God judgment, all that other type of stuff. So I don't know where he was. I want to know where he's going with this. Like, okay, so now that we've established that heaven sent, now what? Where are we heading now? So I would want to know where he's headed to. But I really do believe this is probably just somebody who is just a very hyper religious person who really believes in that stuff that he's not someone he's heard it before, he believes in it, and now he's expressing himself. So I will go ahead and I'll stop there. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Black Steel. Thanks in the chat. Cheryl adds lots of cognitive dissonance. She also adds, I speak for myself when I say, I think I speak for everybody when I say, whose man's is this? And Black Steel, she told you, don't be nice. She felt like maybe you was getting.
I was trying to be nuanced, man. I wasn't trying to be nice. I was trying to add some nuance, but maybe that's not called for all the time. I try to be balanced in my critiques.
Speaking of being nice, we got a nice, honorable gentleman on the panel with us that I would like to hear thoughts on next. Buana, first, welcome to the show.
Thank you for introducing me in such a nice way. I really appreciate that, Jackadero. Let me say, I don't mind you being late tonight at all, because everyone knew on the panel like Luau was going to be conducting the show this week, so we could have show up at 9:30 and still be on time.
Welcome to the show, for those that are just joining, I am Jacadero filling in for Brother Koku here on Shoot the Breeze episode 234. Having an awesome Shoot the Breeze topic number 1 introduction, and Buana is yet to give his response to the two video clips. Are Christians or are we too sensitive?
I try. Me personally, I try not to. I don't attack Christians no more, man. I leave Christians alone. I think that Christians have their own view of the world. I'm kind of like with Black Steel on this, because when you start asking like obvious questions, like, okay, your God, let's get this straight. Your God sent Donald Trump from heaven because he's heaven sent to unalive little Muslim bomb and unalive little Muslim girls in a high school just to hide the fact that he was on an island doing certain things to other little girls. So when I ask Christians things like that, some of them get very offended by them kinds of questions. I mean, well, let me don't put this on all Christians. I wouldn't put this on all Christians. So you can't ask them reasonable, rational questions. So I tend to just leave the brothers alone. In the Christian religion, you are not taught to really uh, be analytical. You are just taught about belief, and on the basis that I can't, certain conversations I wouldn't like recommend anyone getting into with this particular gentleman. I would just ask him, how's the weather today? What's the directions to get to the Walmart? Questions like that. You leave these people to their beliefs. I don't tend to lambaste people who may not understand how the world works. So if he thinks that Donald Trump is heaven sent and Epstein is heaven sent and all these other characters, hey man, more power to him. I'm not gonna lambaste him, but that's what I think about this man.
So he's not out of his mind. Are
Of
Christians?
course he's out of his mind, but I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't think that all Christians are out of their mind. I think that this gentleman is out of his mind. But I mean, what do you want me to say about that, Jackadero? It is what it is.
We're here to talk. We're here to, especially this is a current relative topic. This rapper Lil Russell, he's come under big scrutiny because people have felt like he should know better. All right, we go to our next panelist, and yes, we love this because it's a woman. We love to hear from our women, and it's Amma. Amma, first, welcome to the show. And question to you, are Christians out of their minds, or are we too sensitive based on those two video clips of Lil Russell and his song, I think Heaven Sent is what the title is.
Yeah, so greetings everyone. And I was like, I don't think all Christians are out of their minds, but I think this man is out of his mind. I was like, this is funny. But I think I agree though. I think there's such thing as Christ insanity. And I think black people who are Christian, it's hard to say because some black people that are Christians, they're consistent in their confusion. This guy just isn't consistent. Like he talking about how like everybody, um, pretty much everybody should be saved regardless of what they've done. But he said something in the end. It's something about I don't know if he was talking about like black people being attacked or something. Something about injustice. I thought he said something about that briefly, and I think he just ideologically is all over the place. But, I don't expect. Um, oh, maybe he was trolling. You know what? We can put that to the test. Let's see. And I put 5 on it. I bet he got a white girlfriend. Bet if he got a white girlfriend, he not trolling. So, but it's like it's just these types of confusions. Like it's funny when you listen to it, but this is real. Like this is real. This is Christ insanity. So I mean, just gotta. It's fun to laugh at, but it's serious. It's a serious thing.
Appreciate it, Amma. In the chat, our matron says, waking up is hard to do, and he's trying hard to be woke. What's going on? And she gives greetings to everybody. What's going on, matron? Koku911 says, was Lil Russell possibly trolling? Black Steel, what say you? Is he possibly trolling? He is a musical artist, a rapper. Huh? Was he trolling?
I mean, he could be. He could be. He could be trolling, but he also could be sincere in his beliefs, right? I'm gonna assume everybody here has some familiarity with Christianity. I don't have to break down the theology to everybody, but if he's saying that these individuals he mentioned are all children of God. Like he would, I guess what that's what he means by heaven sent. Does that mean they're all children of God? But then they behave in such a way to basically, like, okay, like for example, I'll give you an example. The evangelicals love Donald Trump. Evangelical Christians in the United States, they believe Donald Trump was anointed by Jesus to lead this country, right? And we've all seen the performances and just the beliefs, and yet this probably is the most immoral, hateful person to ever be in charge of the United States. And that's saying a lot, because we got pedophiles and slave owners from the very beginning. So to say that he's one of the worst is actually quite saying something. And he makes a mockery of the Christian religion. As a Christian, if someone is a Christian, this should anger you, right? You shouldn't be like, oh, this is a person that's heaven sent. No, this is somebody who is making a mockery of your religion, right? And instead of you having a problem with it, you make it seem like he's doing the right thing. This is part of my issue with the so-called, Christians of today. They don't walk the walk, and they don't talk the talk, So if you're going to believe in anything, at least hold to the tenets of it. But you got the first evil white man come around all of a sudden. Oh, he's sent by God, and he's going to unite us, and he's going to heal the it's a bunch of nonsense. So if he is somebody who is sincere in his beliefs, right? And I don't have a reason to doubt sincerity, but if he is a sincere Christian, he should have a problem with these individuals who make a mockery of his religion and basically use it as a way to, continue the fascist takeover of this country, which for Black people has always been fascist. But you know my point. So yeah, I would say that he's merely, is he confused? Is he taking this doctrine to its further limits? I don't know. I get questions for this guy.
If the Jesus of the Bible was to come back to America, this same heaven-sent president would have Jesus Christ arrested by ICE, sent to a detention center, and deported back to Nazareth. And the Christian nationalists would vote for that, by the way. They'd vote for that.
Yes, they would. Yes, they would. Literally on here saying we should start a nuclear war so that way Jesus can come back. Like, y'all really, when you take it to its furthest extent, right? Christianity is a death cult, right? You don't get your rewards until after you die, right? Your salvation comes after you die, right? After you die, you'll be brought back to life. But it's an obsession with death, blood. It's a death cult when you really look at it. When you follow it to its logical conclusion, it will lead to the extinction of all life on this planet.
Some good stuff. Any replies, Cheryl or Amma? Excuse me. Any replies or anything to add to the breeze? Topic number one: are Christians out of their minds, or are we just too sensitive in response to rapper from California, La Russell's Heaven Sent song? If not, we can move on to Shoot the Breeze, topic number 2 for the day.
Yes, I have a question. I think that what is art need to be clearly defined, because art is subjective. Art is really in the eye of the beholder. So that means anyone has the right to get up on a microphone and literally say anything. And then if you was to give you a fan, he said, well, it's okay. I'm an artist. Therefore, you shouldn't be upset or opposed to anything that I'm saying. I have the ultimate pass because I could put stamp on myself, an artist, and that's okay. But this may not play out in certain places. He may find audiences in California, but in some, if he was to go to some of these liberal states, he might not be so kindly, well, California is liberal in it, but he might not be so kindly appreciated, his music wouldn't be. I'm sure. So I mean, really, what is art is very subjective. But I think that anyone could print an artist and say, I'm an artist, this is my career, and say literally anything.
I just wanted to add one thing about the difference between black Christians and white Christians. I feel like it seems like white Christians, they're Christian in context. Like it's very consistent with, everything that they do. Black Christians tend to be not only ideologically inconsistent, but they just kind of do whatever makes them, whatever feels good. They kind of just, oh, I just want to get along. White Christians aren't worried about getting along with everybody. And I think that's like one of the major differences that shows you that Christianity is not fundamentally ours. It's theirs because they understand it better. They know what it is fundamentally and how it works in their culture and their society. Black Christianity just kind of makes black people docile. It doesn't make white people docile, but it makes black people docile and just kind of makes them, oh, I love everybody. That's the general consensus.
Well, I think like Dr. John Henry Clark once said, he said, black people are the true believers, right? Whenever there's a religious belief, black people are the ones who believe in it the most, right? More so than the people who even created the religion. He said that we out Pope the Pope and we will out Muhammad, right? When black people take a religion, we tend to actually believe in what they're saying. Whereas the other people, they have like a rhetoric, right? They'll believe in it, they'll say it, but then their actions prove otherwise. Whereas black people, they tend to want to actually live up to the actual tenets of the religion more so than the people who even created the religion. And I think that they have used that against our people for so long.
I don't even think they want to live up to the tenets of the religion. I think they just don't comprehend the Bible, period. I think comprehension, they just don't understand what the allegories are for. And it's nothing in it's I mean I guess people can read the Bible and think, oh, this sounds righteous, this sounds great, but they don't know what it's in reference to. So it's literally a comprehension problem. So that's how I see it. I mean, I feel like what you're saying is right too. So
A lot to consider. All right. Well, in the chat, we have culture and education saying so it's not Christianity in response to whether art coming into life. Kofi also adds, what up, family? What's going on, Kofi? For those that are just tuning in, yes, you are hearing the voice of Jacadero, filling in for Brother Koku on the Shoot the Breeze episode 234. Please hit the like button if you are watching, wherever it is that you're watching. Helps the algorithm. And then also we have a Discord. If you feel that you have topics to add every week to Shoot the Breeze, join the Discord, not just for the Shoot the Breeze topics, but to connect and build with other like-minded individuals. That being said, let's get to Shoot the Breeze topic number 2. And this one deals with African governments and what? And corruption. Let's get into it. This comes with a video prompt. And so to paint a picture before we play the video, Madagascar last year had their Gen Z protests that had the president leave the country. The president at the time, Andry Rajoelina, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, left the country after his military that was sent to quell or quiet the protests sided with the protesters. Then this guy took over. I believe how you pronounce his name is President Mikel R. He has a long last name that is hard for me to pronounce, so I'm not going to try to pronounce it. But Mikel R. fired everybody from his cabinet just 2 weeks ago. And this week, he placed an order for a lie detector test. Yes, the lie detector test. So more about the lie detector test purchase and the person that's going to operate it on this next Shoot the Breeze topic number 2. Should black governments allow some corruption? Let's go.
Madagascar's military leader announced Thursday that anyone applying to become a minister in the new government will be subject to lie detector tests, a measure aimed at rooting out corruption. President Mikhail Randrianirina, who seized power in an October coup, says the country has acquired a polygraph machine and a specialist to vet candidates. We will know who is corrupt and who can help us, Randrianirina told reporters. He added that he is not looking for someone 100, but at least 60% clean. Candidates who fail the polygraph will not proceed to an interview. Those who pass will then meet the president and the prime minister. The move comes after Randrianirina fired his entire cabinet last week and appointed a new prime minister. The military leader who ousted President Andry Rajoelina following weeks of youth-led protest over poverty and lack of opportunity has promised elections within 2 years.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Madagascar's military leader announced Thursday that anyone applying to become a minister in the new government will be subject to lie detector tests, a measure aimed at rooting out corruption. President Mikhail Randrianirina, who seized power in an October coup, says the country has acquired a polygraph machine and a specialist to vet candidates. We will know who is corrupt and who can help us, Randrianirina told reporters. He added that he is not looking for someone 100, but at least 60% will not proceed to an interview. Those who pass will then meet the president and the prime minister. The move comes after Randrianirina fired his entire cabinet last week and appointed a new prime minister. The military leader who ousted President Andry Rajoelina following weeks of youth-led protest over poverty and lack of opportunity has promised elections within 2 years.
All right. And again, if you are just joining us, I am Jackadero, filling in for Brother Koku here on the Better Medicine Podcast Show, Shoot the Breeze. And this is episode 234. Our topic for the second Shoot the Breeze topic is, should black governments allow some corruption? The video that was just shown was the current president of Madagascar placing an order for a lie detector test that has been delivered in the country because his government cabinetry was dissolved, meaning he fired each and every minister. Now, every new minister that will apply needs to pass a lie detector test, and he's only asking to pass 60% of 100% of questions, meaning that he knows that not everything will be truthful. So the question, should black governments allow some corruption? Again, president has only asked for 60% passing rate. We'll start off with Juana. Juana, you're in a black country. What say you? Should black governments allow some corruption?
Absolutely not. This is goofy beyond belief. This is goofy. Listen, man, there's something called chain of custody. I don't know if the brothers and sisters ever heard of that phrase before. Chain of custody. So now you're gonna have these quote unquote lie detector tests come in to test politicians. My question becomes, who is purchasing the lie detector test? Where has the lie? Who made the lie detector test? Can the lie detector test be manipulated in some way? Because the first person who I'd want to take that test is the president himself. You don't govern a country like that, man. Come on, man. You try. If you believe a person shouldn't run for office, you should try to find credible evidence to show whether the person has been in misdealings or has not been in misdealings. You don't use lie detector tests, man. People beat lie detector tests. Lie detector tests are fallible. Lie detector tests can be manipulated. You don't govern a country. These people make Africa look crazy, man. And plus, if you allow for a little corruption, how much is some? 60%? Yeah, it's with 40% room for error? Come on, man. Come on. Please. Please. I think that this is the reason why I understand why you should have coups, because taking power is something that's needed in Africa. But who you replace these people with, they should be at least competent. At least have some kind of logical insight in their heads. You can't govern a country based on lie detector tests, man. And it's so hard. I'll pass, man. Black Steel, Cheryl, Ease, y'all go ahead, man. Go ahead.
For those again that are just joining us, I am Jacadetto, filling in for Brother Koku, and this is Shoot the Breeze, episode 234 on the number 2 topic: should black governments allow some corruption? We played a video showing that the current president that had taken over the government of Madagascar in a coup is requiring all ministers that are applying to be government officials to take a lie detector test. And he's only asking to pass 60% of the questions that will be asked, because he's aware that his government is corrupt. We'll leave Black Steel as last, just because I know that he's pretty knowledgeable about these things. Shara, or Amma, what say you? Should black governments allow some corruption, like the way that the Madagascar president is allowing 60% of truth and the rest, 40%, can be against ethical code?
I guess the short answer is no. But honestly, I can't speak like I know like what I'm talking about, because I don't know too much. I just actually trying to educate myself. And I okay, so Madagascar, right? And this is important. The first president, I guess the one that was kicked out, his name is Andry
Rajoelina.
Rajoelina.
Uh-huh.
He's not. I'm not sure what's going on in Madagascar. I don't know anything about it, but he's not black. He's not black. And I'm not sure what kind of corruption was going on under him, but apparently it was so bad that they had to kick him out and put somebody else in, and somebody else came in, and I don't know what's the state of the current president, and has he made any changes? Has he done anything better? Because people are like complaining about not having adequate electricity and gas and water, clean water. So my question is, has anything changed since the new president has come in? I feel like that's a fair question. Madagascar, wow. So what's the history of Madagascar? It's like mash up. It's like a mix up, mash up of everything. It's like, I think I read it's 60%. Oh, I gotta go back. Hold up. It's like is it 40% East Asian? They're a mix. Pretty much it ain't black no more. Like, it's very little black people there. But I don't know I think the historical dynamic is important, and I just don't know enough to really comment. But yeah, wow, I did not know that about Madagascar. That's interesting.
Yeah, geographically, Madagascar is on the southeast part of the African waters. It's right there next to Zambia, Mozambique. It's probably his closest identical sister country. And as far as corruption, you ask, Madagascar is abundant with a vast biodiversity of mineral deposits like nickel, cobalt, sapphire. They produce vanilla, cloves. It's a major source of, like I said, those cobalt and nickel. 90% of its wildlife is found nowhere else on the earth. Agriculture is the backbone of the country, employing about 75% of the population. Despite all this natural wealth, the country faces significant challenges with deforestation and natural resource degradation. So people feel like they should be getting more bang for their buck on the returns. Again, cobalt, that's major. That's the thing that powers your guys' electronic devices. The Gen Z protests from Nepal and Kenya influenced a lot of or was a big influence in the Gen Z protests in Madagascar that had Rajoelina leave the country. Black Steel, what say you? Should black governments allow some corruption? Should a lie detector tests allow...
Bro, be fucking for real, man. This is not, whoever this dude was, this is not a serious individual, man. First of all, number one, let me just say this. Lie detectors are considered to be pseudo-scientific, right? Lie detector results are inadmissible in a court of law, at least in the United States. I don't know other countries, but most people consider the lie detector test to be more of a pseudo-scientific thing, right? So they can't be used. But to me, the question, should some corruption be allowed? I feel like that's a little bit disrespectful, right? Because when you have a government that is corrupt, right, people lose faith in that government. The legitimacy tends to erode. So I'm gonna dig back into my bag here, right? There's a principle called the consent of the governed, right? That the people who are governed give the consent to their rulers to be governed. Shout out to John Locke, back when I had to teach that. But the idea is that people consent to be governed, right? If you're going to rule over us, we're going to give your consent to rule us. And as such, we limit some of our freedoms to allow you to govern effectively. However, if that government does not represent the people, if that government is corrupt or unfair, then the people have an obligation to remove that government and replace it with a government that is more favorable to them, that speaks to their interests, right? And I think that we talk about some corruption, right? That basically eliminates people's faith in the government. So then that's why you have coups and things like that. Because if we can't trust you in little things, we can't trust you in big things. So I don't know. It's just, excuse me. It's just the question itself is just insulting. And we wouldn't tolerate this behavior from a country that was not a majority non-black population. And the population of Madagascar is they call it Malagasy or something like that. But like half African and the other half is like from Southeast Asia, like mainly Borneo, Papua New Guinea, those places like that. So it's about a 50-50 split between those two people. And the fact that, okay, well, you only got to pass a lie detector test 60%. A 60 is a D where I come from. I don't know where you guys are from, but a 60 is a D. So would you want your kid to bring home a D on their math test? No, I would not. That wouldn't be acceptable. I do accept that corruption is everywhere, right? There's no government that is free of corruption. But I do want there to at least be attempt, at least try to eliminate. Don't just say, well, it is what it is. You just got to deal with it. No, you should try to want to have a better system that represents all the people of your nation. Not a situation where, we're okay with 60% on the lie detector, which means, are you okay with 40% corruption? It's on its face, it's just a ridiculous statement, man. It is a stupid. This is the question, right? Lie detector tests can be used in court. There's ways to fool a lie detector test. Why not just do the right thing? I find many times that a lot of people will jump through hoops and whatnot to try to avoid doing the right thing. Just do the right thing. Just govern your people fairly, equally, and representing them to the best of your ability. Why are you trying to go through all these hymns and haws and doing everything, just to avoid doing the right thing? Wouldn't it be easier just to do the right thing? If you look at the poverty in Madagascar as a country, if you're the president of this country, don't you want your people to have the best quality of life they can possibly have, instead of stealing and enriching yourself off of them? Honest question. I don't understand why that's such a difficult thing to do. Why, if you're a ruler of a country, you're content with your people not having hospitals, and you have to go to freaking France or Saudi Arabia to get treatment. That's okay for you, but the rest of your people got to sit back and squalor and reuse needles and all the other type of stuff because they don't have the medical equipment. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Black Steel, it is really a race to the bottom. It is a race to the bottom. As much as I don't like Donald Trump makes big claims about the country that he resides. He said, "My country is the best," and you should try to. If you're running the country, you should try to be the best at things, not a mediocre version of what a country is supposed to be, not a so-so version. You should try to get your people to aspire to be the best kinds of people. That's the kind of people you want. This guy say, 50-50. 50-50. It is embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing. I don't really know the history of Madagascar, like Amma was saying earlier. I don't know what the history is, but this is embarrassing. And I don't think that you shouldn't reach for this for your country. I think that you should try to strive to at least to be the best. And if you miss that mark, at least you knock it on 90%, 50-60%. Come on, man. This is embarrassing.
Just to add in, the quote from him directly is, "We are not looking for somebody who is 100% clean." Again, we're not looking for somebody who is 100% clean, but over 60%, because that way Madagascar will finally be able to develop.
Here's a test. Here's a test for my leadership. This is what I want. I want you to take a drug test. If you want to be a politician in my country, I want you to take a drug. The first thing I will require is a drug test to see whether you have some drugs inside your system. Then I want you to take a psych test. I want you to go to the psychiatrist to make sure that you are not insane or a narcissist or a psychopath. That's the second test. The third thing I want to look at to see whether you have a criminal record or not. These are three things that I would ask any person in any leadership in any country. That's the first. They're the three qualifiers whether you should lead a country or not lead a country. Them three things.
It's a tall order from future President Buana. Speaking of nobility, we have ICANN. Welcome to the show. You are listening to Jacadero here, replacing Koku for the day on Shoot the Breeze episode 234. ICANN, did you get a chance to be familiar with the video that was shown for Shoot the Breeze topic number 2? Should black governments allow some corruption? And also, welcome to the show.
Well, respect to everyone. Glad to be on the show. I would like to say I saw a little preview of the video. That's the dude that made the rap song, right?
I don't know if he was a rapper before, but we'll just, if you want, I mean, I can play it again, and then we can have your thoughts. Give me a few moments.
Yeah, well, I think he was talking about
Jacadero.
All right. That was maybe the first topic. I think it was the first topic, but it gonna fall in the same thing. You feel me? Good and evil, right? It's like, of course, the Almighty made good and evil. We actually can't live without both of them. You feel me? too much good is going to turn into evil. And it's obvious that now too much wickedness. It's obvious that we're gonna get tired of that bullshit and go back the good way, as I'm seeing things happening. You feel me? A lot of people excommunicating themselves from corruption. It depends on what type of corruption you're talking about, right? Because to retake Africa, people have to die. You feel me? In order to get back stability in Africa, and even in America, in the black world, to get back stability, might have to do some stuff. You feel me? In terms of, hey, if we want this program going on and say you want some type of Marcus Garvey thing going on and stuff is going on and you have a bunch of people fighting against it and you know it's good, you know it's right. To me, Pan-Africans have to stand up for themselves and to me, sometimes we might have to go outright on people to because how I see it is like, if you do not defend yourself, the wicked will run over you brutally. So I think that but let me make this helicopter pass. Go ahead and speak.
Oh, could I just interject really quickly?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I was just looking at or just kind of reading over it real quick, but I'm gonna just make this quick. Okay, it says there was a Gen Z uprising against the former leader, Rahulina, right? So that means that they didn't like him, kick him out. He's not doing nothing with the economy. He's not really for the people. There's no clean water, there's no clean electric. So I think when they say, maybe I'm misinterpreting this, but when they say we want the next president to be at least 60%, not corrupt by at least 60%, it kind of almost sounds like rhetoric, like, well, at least if you're 60% better, then you would be 10 times better than the previous one, than the previous leader. I was just thinking about that. Maybe that's what they mean. Not literally that, like, I know they're gonna have them take a lie detector test and everything, but I think for them it's kind of just like, well, damn, like it's been so bad. Like at least if we know he's 60% better, that's better than that's better than Rahulina. I know it doesn't sound funny, but like, maybe that's what they mean.
What I like about Madagascar is the president went and met with Russia. I think that's interesting. You feel me? I think that it can lead to progress. What I don't like about Madagascar is I think they have eugenics, the black people there. The kinky hair people. I think they have eugenics them. You have to understand that India is right there. And secretly, India is trying to take over all of those southeastern islands of Africa. You feel me? And the Indians are dirty, nasty, racist pieces of shit people. And how I see Madagascan people, all of them have Somali here, almost Indian here. What did that? You feel me? Something did that, and I know it's racism and colorism, and that's what I don't like about Madagascar. I don't think these people think they're black anymore because their daddies are Indians. You feel me? Same like the Muslims over in North Sudan. You
I
feel
go on.
me?
In the president of a black mine. That was in a black mine. He was in a black
Who?
mine. The
Who?
president of Madagascar, the guy who take over.
No, he
Hell
not black.
no.
He's
Hell
mixed.
no. These people, if you look, make their hair grow out, you see they have straight hair. They so bred out that you look at them, most of them have real straight hair and big curl hair.
This
They,
man
they,
is a Negro. Look at this man. They can pull up a picture of Michael Ranjanana. This is a black man.
I
From what I
mean, all right. I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
That's the black
I'm not
beauty.
saying. All right, listen. I'm not saying that there isn't some black traces of black in in the people. You can see traces of black, but they have been what you'd call eugenics in blackness, and the intergenerational mixing out the black. I think that's what went on. And even the president, he has a kind of smooth hair. He don't have no Negro hair like us. You feel me? Worse, the one that left. He's a whole Indian.
I call one straight Bantu. He ain't trying to. He ain't trying to. Hey, I call him one of Somali. He just one straight Bantu. You understand?
All right, this is what I have to say, right? I want to tell you something. These people are stricter than Africans. I don't know if a lot of African tribes was matrilineal, but I'll tell you this, right? These Islam people and Indian people, they're patrilineal. What that means is, so you see how some of our women go out and have babies with other races and all that. What it means is all right, we Muslim. It means that the father is the child, like the child is what the father is. You feel me? So the mother don't count. It's like the mother don't count. It's what the father is, the child is. So if the white man having a child with the black woman, the child is white. If the black man having a child with the white woman, the man is dominant, so the child is black. Or if a Somali woman has a child outside of Somalia and their tribe and status, the child is not Somali no more in how these people see things. If the father,
I surprise you. I surprise you get a problem with patrilineal though. You kind of like. I
who
surprise you
have
get a problem with that.
no, I have a problem with how Africans should take this shit serious and become patrilineal. You feel me? Where no man touch our woman. You feel me? I think that we should be that way because we're being disrespected the other way around. You feel me? And they disrespecting us all over North Africa, and we don't know. A lot of Africans don't see that and really take that serious. But you can't they'll kill the African man over in North Africa speaking to one of their women. They'll kill you. Worse in Saudi Arabia and all that. Because what they know is whatever child she has will be his tribe. You feel me? Not their tribe. So that's why you see they come and raid Africans and steal African women. Because the woman in their status don't matter. The child will be their child. That's why the men over there in Arabia, in North Africa, they're very hostile because they have their father's spirit. That's how I know that the black woman is the one that destroying us. Because And it's not, and it's psychological. It's psychological. It might not even be on purpose. They just think that's the way to go. You feel me? But what I'm trying to say is just like the Muslim over there, when they rape the woman and or grab her or whatever or marry her, whatever she thinks or be doesn't matter. It's the children only supposed to really, really listen to the father, and they are the father and the father's tribe. You feel me? So that's how they get the child behaving like the fathers. You feel me? Because it's it's patrilineal. What the man say go. You feel me? Well, over here, you feel me? Over here, we don't see that. It doesn't matter to us. So, but even though when the outside child come around you, they're not loyal to you. They're loyal to their father. So that's what's going on with us. That's why we have so much sellouts. You feel me? Because a lot of people don't really think it's messed up. You feel me? It's messed up. But that's what's going on, and we need to look at that. That's what went on in Madagascar, why all those people are almost Indians.
All right. Any rebuttals? Any new points on, again, is Shoot the Breeze topic number 2, based on the video. Should black governments allow some corruption, with the president of Madagascar asking for 60% of ethics and 40% non-ethical.
No, I just want to say that I think the brother gave a real good breakdown of like when we thinking about corruption, like this is full stop corruption. This is the epitome of it. Because when you look in, because when the brother's talking about how like the man, they see if the men, they're all in, like if the men come over there and they're Indian and they procreate with the African women, they are no longer African according to them, and that's important in terms of takeover. And I think corruption on a larger scale, when you look at the mainland, when you look at Africa and you look at East Africa, all up and down East Africa, the South and everything, you see all of these groups that say that they're allies and they say that they're your friends and they doing all of this. This is ultimately their goal. What they did to Madagascar, that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to
Yep.
get their foot in the door. They're just trying. You even got like reports of like Chinese people going over there and they're having how they call them, anchor babies. That Indians, Chinese, they're all doing it. And
Yep.
it's a different type of takeover than what European people do. Whose phone is that? That's my phone. Oh, I thought that was my phone. But yeah, it's a different type of takeover. But just because some people, you cannot see corruption in other countries and then see corruption in Africa and then think that those people are going to come together on the basis of being corrupt and going to help each other. That's not how it works. Because people who come into Africa, they come into Africa to dominate. It don't matter if it's a soft takeover or they just coming in and crushing everybody. It's ultimately about taking the land for their future generations. And African people don't see that. And us as black people, we don't even see that. We just see people being nice to us. So I think this excellent point that the brother brought up.
All right. Well, if there's no other points, we can go ahead and move to Shoot the Breeze. Topic number 3. It comes to us with another video prompt from Instagram. Yeah, Instagram. And it asks, can African diaspora investments replicate China's model with the current African political elite in place, or is Africa's ethical unification a prerequisite? This comes to us again from our Discord. If you don't already know, the Bitter Medicine has a Discord, so you can have your chance to have your Shoot the Breeze topics played out each and every week, as well as connect and build with other like-minded individuals. If you're hearing this voice, I am Jacadero filling in for Brother Koku on Shoot the Breeze episode 234. Let's go ahead and check out the video that comes with Shoot the Breeze topic number 3. Stand by.
Years where I paid. Hey, my people. So someone left a very interesting comment on one of my recent videos where I was calling on the diaspora to intentionally invest in Africa before it's too late, before we wake up one day and realize that we don't own the continent anymore. And the user said that, quote, the Chinese diaspora did not build China's industries. China's model was based on state ownership. Maybe Africa needs a model that combines state ownership with private capital, end quote. So yes, there's truth in that, right? Because China's rise was not accidental. It was driven by a very strong strategic state that directed domestic capital, protected key industries, invested heavily in infrastructure, and also controlled the pace of industrialization. But the question that we need to be asking is, how did China get the capital to do that? Because remember, at the turn of the mid-20th century, China was very, very poor. This is where the diaspora came in. Early investment into China's opening economy came from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and overseas Chinese networks. China leverages diaspora to raise capital for development by implementing investment-friendly policies that encourage returning capital from overseas Chinese. They provided preferential incentives in special economic zones. The government was very intentional about its diaspora. It utilized personal relationships and ethnic affinity to build trust. And in addition to capital, China fostered programs to bring back talent from Western countries, particularly in high-tech fields, to foster skills training and development locally. So by 1994, the Chinese diaspora contributed nearly 2/3 of all foreign direct investment in China. And by 2022, direct investment from overseas Chinese had reached nearly 80% of the total FDI. So it wasn't just state versus diaspora. It was a combination of both. So let's bring this back to Africa. The real question is, how do we build a model where the state, private sector, and diaspora are aligned? Because right now, that alignment is missing. In many African countries, the state is trying to drive industrial policy. Private capital is often limited or risk averse, and diaspora capital is largely disconnected from structured opportunities. So the issue is not just money. The issue is really coordination. China gives us a model that worked. Now, I'm not saying that we need to, copy China exactly, no. But we need to talk about what kind of model fits Africa's reality. Because another problem is China was one country, but Africa is 54 individual countries. You see, that completely changes the dynamics. So let me ask you, what should that model actually look like for Africa? Should governments lead? Or should the private sector and diaspora take the front seat?
All right. Once again, this is Jacadero filling in for Brother Koku on the Better Medicine Shoot the Breeze episode 234. Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 asks, can African diaspora investments replicate China's model with the current African political elite in place, or is Africa's ethical unification a prerequisite? The video was from quite possibly a Nigerian woman describing on how China started off in the early 19th century as a poor nation, but the diaspora came in, and by the year 2002 had seen a significant growth financially. Before we go to our panelists in the chat, we have a lot going on. The matron says that the fall of all kingdoms started with sexual and social integration, relating back to the previous topic in Madagascar's racial demographic. Trigger Happy says, even more than that, Africa doesn't have a unified state model either. It's desperate governments, about 50 plus state entities. Cheryl says, I hear Mandarin in her voice. Very interesting. Maybe she speaks it fluently. Yeah, maybe she does. Huh? The matron adds, ethical unification is a prerequisite. We sitting here debating whether or not corruption is okay. We don't have the necessary relationships to build the way other diaspora have built. Ooh. Trigger Happy also adds, Africa has to eventually become a unified state, but that is going to come with it other questions of cultural unity and political unity. A lot. Be sure to add in your comments as well. We'll start off with ICANN. ICANN, what say you to question number 3? Can African diaspora investments replicate China's model with the current African political elite?
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, China is a good model for Africa. I actually think that all of Black Africa should be militarized in terms of why? Because Africans are not what you would call Africans don't have situational awareness. You feel me? And it makes them, I think Africans are dancing too much. You feel me? So I think they should be like every graduate 17 years old should be enrolled in the army. And also I think that all schools should be militarized. You feel me? When it comes to Africa, because it's very important that Africans are stable in their thinking. You feel me? Not wicked, not the wickedness that I see them do. Christianity should be banned, Islam should be banned, but I'm sure that's not gonna happen. But education, intensified education, and non-falsified education can evict Islam and Christianity from people's mind, because what you call logic is going to take control of a sensible person. You feel me? So yeah, also I have to talk hypothetical, because yeah, we know the position. You feel me? I think that it's sort of easy. Africa is coming to a one currency, kind of. You feel me? But I think that to break the colonizers back is a bold move in terms of, I think that Africans should decide that, listen, all external spending and buying should be done in Chinese money. I don't know, the yuan, that's what it's called. In terms of excommunicating the US dollar, or try to withhold using the US dollar. You feel me? China has everything. We need a new superpower, and that's the only way Africa gonna be a superpower, unless we get a new superpower. You feel me? So I think that in terms of, okay, all exports should be paid for in Chinese money. You feel me? And when we buying stuff from anyone, we I guess we can use Chinese money, or I guess sometimes the US, but Chinese money. If you, in terms of, but all internal spending, because I think that we need to strengthen the African currency in terms of, you cannot spend any international currency in local areas. You feel me? That's what's weakening the little African dollars right now because the US dollar can be spent in their country. So actually the US dollar is more legal in Africa than African currencies. You feel me? That's one of the things that's happening now that needs to be done with. You feel me? So got a long way to go. But that's where I'm saying I'm leaving it right there. Got a long way to go. Go ahead.
Appreciate it. I can. We'll go with Buana. What say you? Can African diaspora investments replicate China's model with the current African political elite in place, or is Africa's ethical unification a prerequisite?
Well, I'll do my best to answer that question, but here's where I am with this. Her analysis wasn't sufficient because she started in 2000. Okay. Now, the reason why China is the way it is right now is you have to go beyond 2000. You have to go earlier. I personally think, and this is my opinion now, I think Mao Zedong, who is the former leader of China, he had an industrial revolution. And then in the industrial revolution, the Chinese learned to make many things, and sell those things at a at base level cost because many people were poor. Now many countries saw that and they decided to buy products, cheaply made products from China. This is why you see so much things were said made in China. The West, how they have their propaganda, they would say that the Industrial Revolution wasn't a success because so many Chinese people died, which is absolutely true. But when Mao Zedong created that situation, he changed the economic dynamic inside of China because people left a lot of them left the farms and went into industry. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, another thing that Mao Zedong did was he had a cultural revolution, and this goes to a mindset. What Icon Fire was talking about earlier when he said that leaving Christianity and different things like that, they kind of like grabbed on to their cultural experiences, and they became more, I won't say nativistic, but nationalized the mindset. A lot of the
They
Chinese
become
them
near
thinking.
Chinese.
Yeah, a lot of the Chinese them thinking. So instead of looking towards the West or looking at Russia, they was looking at the Chinese and say, well, what can we do? So it changed the mindset of a lot of Chinese. Okay, when you fast forward that in 2026, this is the end result of what that man did back in the day. Way back in the day. Okay, now the difference between that and China is the histories are different. The histories are different. The African histories are very different from the Chinese history. You know what I mean? So you can't put a Chinese suit on an African body and say, well, this gonna work for us. Yeah, you can't really do that. You have to put the
Also tell you
African.
this,
You have to put the
but
African suit on the African body. It's the same way in the Caribbean. I feel like we need to go through a cultural revolution. When I talk about decolonization or the thinking of a lot of Black people in the Caribbean, and also we need to also go through industrialization, industrial revolution. I think that we need to do that as well. You can't just get money off of tourism for the rest of your life, serving tourists Bahama Mama. It don't work that way. You got to make something. You got to make something and sell something in this world besides a smile and a tourist experience. So the Chinese learned to make products, cheaply made products, and sell it to the world. So it ain't start in 2000. It started beyond that with people who was trying to recreate the world. But Africa is so sectarian. You have all these tin pot leaders controlling the situation and it's not necessarily unified. So you can't do the same thing you do in China, what you do in Africa. The suit have to be a little bit different. I don't know how you're gonna fix it. I personally don't know how to do. I wouldn't know how to go about because you have tribal distinctions. Then you have one president say, "Well, we're gonna do it this way," and then another president, Black president, say, "We're gonna do it that way." So unless Boy, I tell you, Icon Fire say a lot of people have to die. And that's another kind of argument. When you're trying to unify a country, you have to take out a whole lot of people. Africa is a big continent. When you're trying to have, if you're really trying to replicate what the Chinese did, because the Chinese actually did that. China was a very divided country as well. It was a very
Yeah.
divided country until someone came along and unified it, but a whole lot of people had to die. So I don't know if you want to replicate that to create what China created. I don't know that. And I can't speak for a billion people in Africa. I just think that to answer that question, I don't think that you should put a Chinese suit on an African body. I think that what
But,
works for
but,
Africa
but
have to work for Africa, and what work for China have to work for China.
and that's why I said, that's why I try to say, like, okay, you can't really like do it that way. I think that Africa should be militarized, because what I mean is, um when the people are disciplined, they can see things better. You feel me? They have a better realistic view. So if a leader comes and want to dominate and understand what he's saying, what he's doing, there will be less killing of our folks, because people will be more stable in their thoughts. You feel me? All right, look, our people in the diaspora don't understand. They don't understand what's going on. And Africans don't understand. Only the Pan-Africans and the people in Black consciousness knows what's going on and knows the solution, knows that the solution is unity. Because look at this, right? We in the diaspora actually was not censored as the African. You feel me? So there are some stuff we know about the African that the African don't know about itself. You feel me? It's just this tug of war that we have, and a lot of people are going toe to toe against Pan-Africanism. You feel me? And tarnishing the movement. But we actually need to lobby Africans. My bro said that the diaspora dollar. Africans have more money than us. Africans have more money than us. They just buying Louis Vuitton and all type of foolishness with their money. You feel me? Look at Nigeria, right? If Nigeria even taking care of 100 million people properly, America is just 40 million. You feel me? So actually, Nigeria actually can fit Americans and the Caribbeans, and don't even mess with their economy, because they wouldn't even notice a few more million people. You feel me? And we're not talking about the rest of Africa. You feel me? Ghana is 30 million. These people can, if they're interested, they can make us real rich and real stable in the Caribbean and Black America. But we're not lobbying. I tell some people that we think we're small, and we because if you hear Black American and go over there and deal with Africans, you're doing what the white man is doing. That's what you actually doing. The white man ain't doing no little small stuff. You feel me? But by going to Africa to lobby, it's the same thing we have to do. You feel me? I love Mayor Motley. Listen, and she called Bob Marley name every day. But she's the smartest prime minister, president the whole black world has ever seen, especially in the West. smartest. You know why? Because she tried to be friends with and brothers with our African people. You feel me? Ethiopia didn't open their dam. We didn't open their dam without calling her and say, come and see the inauguration. You feel me? So that's leverage. That's leverage. She gonna go speak to the in the African Union one day too. So what I'm trying to say to you is, if we smart, we stop paying attention to the Western world and pay attention to Africans. You feel me? We can we can be the goal. We can sell gold over here. You have Jamaicans everywhere. You have Jamaica, in Jamaica you have Bahamas. You feel me? Like Buana. I know Buana got a whole bunch of money, right? All you gotta do is go to Ghana, right? You feel me? And they have a gold board. I think, and lobby them, and you can talk to them and be like, listen, I'm from the diaspora. I want gold on the low, and you can talk to them and get that shit. You can go and get your own mine. You feel me? Because Guana is big like that. He's not no little chips dude. You feel me? But all I'm just telling you, my people, we have to lobby Africans, because Africans are Europeanized. You feel me? And Africans are directed. Their investment, what you call profiling, is Europe and America and white America. I'm telling you.
All right, icon. All right. We still have
Sorry.
two other panelists. It's okay. We still have, you know, we love rebuttals. We love replies. Just wait until we get all the panelists to share their thoughts, just because we only got a limited time, Let's go with Black Steel. Black Steel, what say you to Shoot the Breeze? Topic number 3. Can African diaspora investments replicate China's model?
Not without China's cultural revolution, right? And you said you want to replicate what another country is doing, but you don't take the steps that they did to get to that point. And the thing is that Africa and China have very different histories. They were both victims of colonization. Whereas in Africa, you had direct colonization, you had settler colonization, whereas in China, they had spheres of influence, right? They intentionally got the Chinese people addicted to drugs and the opium trade and whatnot. China experienced what they call a century of humiliation. They were invaded by the Japanese in World War II, so they dealt with a war of basically of survival, basically, where the Japanese wanted to annex parts of China, exploit their resources. They had, they felt that the Chinese were inferior to them. So we have some similarities. We also have some differences too. There was a strong, and I think we have to remember the Chinese Civil War that happens after World War II. You have the nationalists under Chiang Kai-shek, and then you have the communists under Mao Zedong. So the communists win the Civil War, right? And then they go through a policy. They want to eliminate what they call the 4 O's, right? What were the 4 O's? The 4 O's were old ideas, old cultures, old customs, and old habits, right? So they need to eradicate certain elements of the Chinese society that was not supportive of communism, of their new ideas of social inequality, right? So this cultural revolution had to take place within China in order for them to use their massive population for industrial capacity. But there's also a bad side to that, right? Because everyone talks about the good of industrializing your society, but then they forget the bad parts of it. So in the 1970s, when the United States relocated many of their industries to China, many of their factories to China, right? Part of the reason that they did that was because the labor protections for the Chinese people was much less than that of the United States. There were no unions. There was no worker safety. There was no environmental controls. You could dump wherever. There was no protection for the wildlife unless it brought in tourist dollars. So you have mass exterminations of animals, like, for example, the South China tiger, which is extinct in the wild, the Yangtze porpoise, the Baji, which is extinct, all these other animals. So all the ecological damage that the Chinese really didn't care, because they were so focused on catching up and being able to rival the Western powers, with good reason, because again, these people had been invaded. What they called it a century of humiliation is what they experienced. First subjugation by the Western powers, then by the by the Japanese, and so on and so forth. Civil War, the Boxer Rebellion, the Taiping Rebellion. Millions of people are dying. It's hard when you talk about Chinese history and you hear like a rebellion and then you look it up and it's like 30 million people died. It's like, what? It's like, how many people died? Like 15 million. It wasn't a big population. It's a couple million people. Who cares, right? So Africa, first of all, Africa has to be united. There's no one ideology that unites African people. And this is something that I think we're missing. There are many, the lack of an ideology that unites African people is our downfall, because you can bomb a people, you can starve a people, but you cannot starve an ideology, right? So what's the ideology that united the Chinese? Communism, right? Socialist practices, right? They wanted a planned state government. We don't have that. We were literally just talking about what level should there be some corruption in African governments. In China, they will execute you for corruption, right? These corrupt African leaders in places like Equatorial Guinea, in Togo, these people been in charge for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, right? They're not going to Ike's point, these people got to die. They're not going to relinquish power willingly, right? And I think unless we have that unifying ideology, it could be Ubuntu, it could be whatever African belief system you want. But if there has to be that unifying ideology, right? And I don't think there's African people I'm not saying haven't suffered enough, right? Because God knows we've suffered. But I think that especially within the Chinese condition, right? They have been under constant threat. So first of all, you had the Sino-Japanese War. You have the Japanese invading the country. Then you have the humiliation of the Boxer Rebellion. You have the Taiping Rebellion. You have the Opium Wars. All these conflicts and these constant humiliations. But the average Chinese person was not able to insulate themselves from that. And I feel that a lot of African people, they have especially in the upper classes, they don't feel it the way the poor people feel it. So they're content with the system as it is. So there will legit have to be, when I say there needs to be a cultural revolution, these people got to go. The Chinese in their system, they re-educated some of their people, quote unquote re-educated. The ones they didn't put in the dirt, they re-educated them. The last emperor of China, Puyi, what happened to him? They didn't kill him off like the French or the Russians did. They just took away his titles, gave him a regular job, let him work with everybody else. And he was content with that. Could you imagine some of these African dictators being in charge 30, 40, 50 years? If you had them doing a regular job, they couldn't stand it. So we got to have an ideology first that unites our people before we can even talk about having a economic model similar to what the Chinese did. I don't believe we should replicate what they did. All right. We have to, it's okay to take some things, you want to eat the meat, spit out the bones. Take what works, discard what doesn't work. Right. I don't want Africa to suffer ecologically the way China does, where you have cities which you can't even breathe in because the smog and the pollution is so great, where you have people who are work in these factories so much that they want to commit suicide, and they got to build nets around the factory to make sure you don't kill yourself. I don't want that for African people. I think that we can take what works and we can discard what doesn't work. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Black Steel. We had a lot in the comments here before we get to our last panelist. His thoughts. Cheryl in the chat says, "Yo, Buana, let me borrow 500 quick." Cheryl trying to get that money that I can. Said that Buana's racking in. Trigger Happy says, "Yep, feudalist ideas from their perspective." Trigger Happy adds, "Our cultural revolution has to embrace the old to create the foundation. Their cultural revolution has to remove elements of the old for better refinement." Trigger Happy also adds, "That's a difficult convo for many because many don't want to hear the needed balance of protecting and preserving nature because technological advancements is more important." All right. Well, last but not least, Amma, what say you to this Shoot the Breeze topic number 3? If I can find it, stand by. Can African diaspora investments replicate China's model with the current African political elite?
Yeah, so definitely agreeing with what Black Steel is saying, and Trigger Happy in the comments about there definitely has to be a cultural revolution first. That's what's like kind of holding us back. We're just got you got Muslims here, you got Christians here, you got some black people in the what's the other one? Um, that thing they do in Israel, whatever that is. Judaism. There you go. Yeah, we all over the place, baby. But we doing too much. But that's part of our disunity. Definitely got to start there. But I do want to like highlight what the sister was talking about with just I understand the cultural aspect does absolutely have to be there, but she was just talking about the how like Africa's private sector, and this I'm just looking some of this stuff up as I'm going along, and she's just talking about how the private sector it makes up it's pretty much like the driving force for Africa's economy to transform. Like it's talking about like I'm just looking this up. Like 75% of investment. That's how much the private sector drives economic, I guess, transformation and success in Africa. So Africa has that thing. It's called the strengthening the private sector to boost continental trade and integration in Africa. I mean, they got some pretty good things here. They got, you got that regional integration. Just agreements, across countries in Africa on just transforming trade. Just building relationships um, outside of their own individual countries. I think that's key. That's important. Um, and also like them as addressing public and private partnerships cross borders too. I think I mean it's up to the African leaders, but if they see collaboration between the different countries in terms of how they're regulating resources, infrastructure, um, whatever, what have you, whatever improves like Africa in terms of energy, agriculture, and all of that. if they see that, maybe that can be a starting point. And like she said, it doesn't mean follow China. It doesn't mean do exactly what they do,
Or
because China's having some problems right now. That's a topic for another time. But I think those things in terms of policy and regulation, that collaboration across borders, um, I think that's something to definitely pay attention to. But it's like that combined with a cultural revolution. I feel like those are like that's like the moneymaker right there. Like if we could somehow combine those two things, like I think we would be good. And just keeping things in in Africa. So that's the AFTA, kind of shorten it. That's the initiative. But I think a lot of the times, because like we said, we haven't had a cultural revolution, we tend to let people in to that integration process that are not African. And I think that's where we kind of mess up, because your ideology, you want to do for Africa, but your ideology says do for everyone. And so that's, or do for Islam or whatever. So that's kind of where we kind of drop the ball, because we have Africa has the tools. It's just it's the mindset. So I'll end it there.
What I know about, I hope you finish. I don't want to interrupt you. What I know about, I feel like another way of solving this problem is with black people. I don't know if you all know this term, but we have a term in the Caribbean called "what monkey see, monkey do." I don't know if you all know about that, but I know for sure that the black people living in the West, the African people living in the West, has something that Africans don't, which is a very common history that resonates throughout from North America, from Canada, straight down to the bottom of South America. We have a very common history. That's number one. Number two, there are things that we have learned in the West in terms of industrialization, right? That if we pool the intellectual talents from all these black people in the Western world, I think that we'll make ourselves a very powerful bloc in the Western world. And what monkey see, monkey do. If the Africans see us doing it, they gonna want to do it too, because they are brothers and sisters. They go just like the AES spreading around Africa like a virus. And I think that our common history, we don't have the baggage. And I don't mean to be disrespectful of none of my African continental brothers, but we don't have the baggage in continental Africa where they would fight over tribal distinctions than we have in the West. Now, there are people who working to create these things, where there wasn't none. And American government see the need to create, to disrupt that unity from happening, because they know the possibility of what China did could be replicated with black people, with African people in the Western world. And I think that I believe, this is my personal belief, that this is the advantage the Africans have in the West that the brothers and sisters on the continent may not necessarily have. They'll argue for years over tribes, but our holding on to them tribal distinctions has been taken away from us. You know what I mean? We kind of get clear to who our external enemies are. You know what I mean? And we have learned certain things in the West where I believe they'll be beneficial to show the rest of see, Marcus Garvey almost accomplished it, He almost accomplished it. He got very, very close. but I think it's for us to complete the task. And I think that what is true for the West, monkey see, monkey do, I think the rest of the black diaspora or the Africans on the continent will want to do the same kinds of things, or be led to. And I ain't saying we leading the Africans on the continent. I'm saying that our brothers, we are a mirror of each other. We are a mirror of each other. But I think that there are some things that we have learned and lost, and to our benefit, that we could benefit from. as opposed to the brothers and sisters on the continent. So if I was to try to use the Chinese suit, I would use it in the Western world and on the Africans in the Western world. My opinion.
So Guana, you right, because look how they we send in bad messages. We send in bad messages to Africans. Um African woman is inspired by Black American women, and African men are somewhat inspired by Black American men. But the messaging is wrong, and that's why they kill all the leaders from over here, and instill vulgar music, and same with Jamaican. So right now, because Africans don't have no choice as to what they're hearing, they be embracing these ranchy rap music and Jamaican ranchy music. You feel me? They used to love reggae music, but the Jamaican and the government is killing reggae music in Jamaica. So, but they establishing dancehall music, which is full of violence and all that stuff. You feel me? Sexualizing everything. So that's what's that, and you can see it has an impression on Africans. So, but to tell you the truth, we have a big impression on Africans, and we actually need to be very careful how we behave, because we we need Africans to be sensitized to our condition, and understand that they need to also invest in us. You feel me? That's what I was saying earlier before someone said I was rambling.
Hold up, brother. Hold up for a second. 1 second. Hold on. Because, okay, I see what you're saying about the influence of America America has that effect on the world because we've got because I'm not going to say we, but they've got their hands in everybody's business. So it's only natural
Sure.
that everybody looks at America and says, "Oh, we're going to go do this." But also keep in mind who controls the media and the
The
propaganda and
media.
all of that. So when you saying things like, "Oh, Jamaican this bad music and the rap music this and that," just keep in mind that's not representative of the people that live there. So I just want to make sure we gotta keep that very clear.
Yeah,
That's not
I totally understand, because I remember I did say the Jamaican government is trying to kill reggae music and establish dancehall music on a popular level. You feel me? And it's the same thing with American music, where the Jews control it, and they are instigating what type of music the dudes should make. You feel me? So they are, and because they know that we impact Africa, what are the whole plan is to make us, the whole plan is to make us practically be too corrupt for godliness. Did you know that? That's what their plan is like. Their plan is to say, okay, they gonna turn us into murderers, all type of terrible beast type of thing. So we destroy our souls. That's what they all working on. The Jews, everybody. They trying to make us disrespect our soul. And so in the afterlife, we are somewhat corrupt. You feel me? And our heart is heavy. So that's all they're doing. They cannot make us uncorruptible. They cannot afford to do that. So that's why they're trying to make us raggedy. But that's why I say that Pan-Africanism, we black people need to stop fighting against our heroes and start endorsing our heroes and put them on front page and endorse Pan-Africanism, because that's the only way. As someone said, we need a cultural revolution. Well, we can only have a Pan-African Black conscious cultural revolution because we are Black, we're not Chinese. You feel me? So that should be our cultural revolution. I think we should start treating Pan-Africanism as our goddamn religion. You feel me? Go ahead, my people. Go ahead, my boss people.
Any replies? Any run back statements? Otherwise, we can move on to Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. This will probably be our last one, just because of time constraints. But it comes from the current situation that's going on in the Caribbean, and it's a heavy one, and it follows a video as well. And oh, so sorry. Let me change that here. Excuse me. It's supposed to be number 5, but we're crunched for time, so call number 4. So Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. This will be our last one. Once again, if you're hearing my voice, I'm Jacadero, filling in for Brother Koku on Shoot the Breeze episode 234, and it is Cuba the next Haiti? If you haven't been following, the U.S. is putting a lot of pressure on this island. So again, it's Cuba the next Haiti. Follows a video. Let's take a look and see what's going on.
Tonight, Cuba is in the dark. The entire electrical grid collapsing today as the country struggles with an energy crisis, leaving millions on the island without power. During this latest blackout, people have been spilling out to the streets here for hours. Fortunately, some cloud cover to keep them from this blistering heat. It's been 3 months since a drop of oil has reached the country. Highways are empty because there's no gas. Women are delivering babies in dark hospitals with no electricity. Conditions are deteriorating. I sat down exclusively with Deputy Prime Minister Oscar Perez Oliva Fraga, considered by many to be Cuba's economic czar. His plan to attract more foreign investors, including large companies from the United States. He says Cuba is open to having a fluid commercial relationship with U.S. companies, with Cubans residing in the United States and their descendants. This person tells me it would be a breath of fresh air. And while there are people in the United States who legally do business with Cuba, Washington's trade embargo restricts many companies from doing authorized business there. Today, President Trump was asked about taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba, I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it.
What a relationship would look like, though, remains to be seen, particularly since Congress has to vote, and many in Congress are skeptical.
I would ask and advise any Cuban that lives here or any Cuban in exile, please don't invest in Cuba. You're wasting your time.
Today, Cuban-American activists in Miami came together to send a message.
If we don't have any change in political rights, if we don't have any political guarantees, there's no economic change that's possible.
Freedom is to be able to choose your destiny. It's about Cuban sovereignty, not about business.
And tonight, those Cubans plunged into darkness will come here along Havana's iconic seawall to not only cool off, but escape the reality of the situation. Hallie?
All right, and that is a video for our Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. Is Cuba the next Haiti? This more likely will be our last topic just for the night because we're pressed for time. We'll start off with Black Steel. Black Steel, what say you? Is Cuba the next Haiti?
Man, every country in the global south, you said the next Haiti, right? Haiti, Palestine, Venezuela, take your pick, right? The truth of the matter is, right, we are in the dying throes of empire, right? The American empire is feeling the pressure. They're overextended. They're getting, so what happens when empires start to collapse on each other? They lash out, right? The most dangerous type of animal is a wounded animal. So we're starting to see, these military ventures, these attacks on other countries' sovereignty. Cuba has long been marked for government change, right? It's so funny how the Cuban Americans, the gusanos, as Castro called them, Spanish for worms. He called them worms. So it's so funny how they sit up here and they talk about how there needs to be regime change in the government, right? The United States has done over a 60-year illegal blockade of a foreign nation, right? To stifle their economic growth, their cultural growth, to block them off from their neighbors. It would be bad enough if America said we don't want to do business with Cuba. That's fine. But the fact that they're sanctioning and they're punishing other nations who do business with Cuba, who accept Cuban doctors. So Mexico is trying to send Cuba oil. The Russians have 2 tankers they're sending to Cuba now. And the State Department says the Cubans will not be allowed to accept this. Who is the United States Treasury Department to tell another country what another country can take, right? And then they had the nerve to ask if they could supply diesel fuel to their embassy in Havana. So not only are we starving the Cuban people of oil, we want to see if we can send our embassy oil. But fuck y'all. So it is the audacity that is on sale right now in when dealing with the United States and this issue. They want Cuba to be what it was before the Communist Revolution. Cuba had a corrupt dictator by the name of Batista. You had organized crime that was running the city and getting the profits. Only 4% of the population could read. Massive problem with inequality in healthcare. They want to bring that back. The Cuban people are standing strong. I hope Russians and Mexico are willing to stand up to the United States. But yeah, they want to destabilize the whole Caribbean area, not just Cuba, not just Haiti. That's where they're bombing, killing people in the Caribbean Sea on the suspicion of importing drugs. They just want to be able to assert their dominance over the entire region. It's the Monroe Doctrine, which is taught about in the early 19th century, that the United States they're the ones who control foreign affairs in this side of the world. At the time they said it, they couldn't enforce it. So now they can. And now they're wanting to be able to exert their dominance, tell you who you can trade with, who you can buy from, who can build your infrastructure, and so on and so forth. And if you don't, then we'll sanction your economy into oblivion. So that's just my thought. Yeah, they want to make it the next Haiti. They want every nation, if it doesn't bow down to them, because that's the only thing they can really do. They can't beat any other country. They got to pick on these little small countries. They got to go after countries like Grenada and Vietnam and people who can't really fight back. But when you go up against somebody who can actually bloody your nose, then you want to talk about doing all type of situations. Trigger Happy brings up an excellent point. After the U.S. lost in Vietnam, they went to go pick on Grenada to feel better about themselves. They got their ass whooped by the Vietnamese rice farmers who were dying of starvation. So again, once Iran is putting belt to ass, they're going to say we won, and then Cuba's next. I put money on it. All right. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Black Steel. Yeah, Trigger Happy adds also once America loses to Iran, they will probably go to smaller countries for moral victory. Trigger Happy adds because it's not looking too good so far for America right now. Juana, you're in the Caribbean. Is Cuba the next Haiti?
All I gotta say is, los pueblos de Cuba son revolucionarios para 60 años. You know, they've been revolutionary for 60 freaking years. You know, they already have been conditioned. Now, the American government, make no mistake about it, they may be able to take out the leader in Cuba, you know, with with Paquito Marcos, with little Marco, they may be able to take out the leadership. However, I'm gonna tell you something. They are revolutionary people. They have the spirit of Fidel Castro inside of them. Generations now. So even if you decide to put in a tin pot dictator, and someone foolish enough to be an American so-called representative, prime minister, premier, presidente, el presidente de Cuba, what's gonna happen is then is gonna be an uprising, and he is going to be deposed. You may be able to conquer lands, but you have to be able to maintain the lands that you conquer over. So unless America decides to be in Cuba permanently, there is always going to be some revolutionary and say, I don't mind socialism in Cuba. I don't mind. Matter of fact, we need to go harder. We need to go harder. We need to raise the ancestors of Cuba and Che and all these other people. It's just a matter of time before that land is taken back over. So, like I say, unless the United States decide to remain in Cuba permanently, it's gonna be taken back. It is what it is. It is what it is. So I mean, try the hardest you can. These people have been in condition for generations now. So like I said, unless you plan to have your boats permanently around Cuba, and I think Mexico did decide to send boats to Cuba, and I think that the Russians, I would like to see how that play out, decided to send oil to Cuba as well. So we'll see how that works out for them. We'll see, and they are. I know that the Blancos in South Florida, I know they want to have their so-called places back or whatever. That's a dream. This is a dream. This is a dream. You're not, like I say, even if you take Cuba back and kill out all their leaders, there are millions of people willing to replace them. So the language of Cuba is revolution, just as in the United States, by the way. The United States is a revolutionary country, so they should know better. There are some people you shouldn't F with, like the Haitians. Whenever the Americans send a 10-point leader to Haiti, his days are numbered. His days are numbered. He ended up leaving running. So I say to the American, good luck. I'm not saying that the American government don't have force and power, but the ability to stay there long term, I don't think so. I don't think so. So we'll see. I'll leave it there, Jacadero.
Good stuff, Wada. And good stuff also, Black Steel. Yeah, this is it's a bit tricky. It's a bit tricky just because Cuba's been holding a revolutionary line for the past 60 plus years. Amma, what say you? Is Cuba the next Haiti, based on what you watched and what you know?
Oh boy. Um, I mean, I would say no. I don't know too much about Cuba, but I was just kind of like really focused on what Trump was saying, and he was just like, you know, what did he say? Well, he said I can take Cuba. I just like really logistically, I want to know like what that really I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but like what does that really look like? Because uh, um I just feel like America, like with Trump in office, they might be stretching themselves too thin with everything that's going on with Iran. Not just with Iran, but um, you know, Venezuela. You got just all of these places that's just like ready. They're just like they're just ready for revolution. I just don't see America in terms of, and this is a little technical, but in terms of like ground troops, I don't see them being ready. I don't think right as of right now, I don't think America, I don't think the army is ready. The US Army is ready for what they would encounter if they put boots on the ground in places like Cuba, and I don't know. I just, if they were actually to do that and that was a thing and he actually wanted to take Cuba, I don't think it would work, just because, just based on what I know about the US military, it's just, it's not ready. They're just, they're not physically ready. They're not mentally ready. Um I mean, there's a reason the United States Army wanted to change the physical standards. Um, that's the physical standard test that all military people have to pass, all army people have to pass in order to get in. You got so many, because you got so many people that they're I, they're just, I don't even know how else to say it. It's just, keep it simple. They just not ready. They're not ready.
Transgenders.
They're not at all. They're not ready. Because when I was in, I'm like, when I was in, I'm active duty. I'm like, yo, these people can't even pass. They can't even pass a run. They can't pass a push up. They can't pass the sit up. Like, how they going? These reserve units, they're not ready. They're not. My reserve unit, I'm running circles around them, and I'm barely training, and no, they're not ready. And I know that's just my unit, and there are other units. There are hundreds of units around, but the standard. That's why they had to change the standard, because it was so bad. They had to kick out so many people because they were ill fit. Everybody was getting a profile. And for those of you who don't know, a profile is just something that you get that says that you don't have to participate in the daily physical training activities when you're active duty, or when you're on when you're reserve. So I think they got kind of lazy, and that's why they had to change the standards. But that's important, because if you're not physically fit, you're not ready. You're not ready to go overseas. You're not ready to go anywhere. These people are going to knock you out of the park. It doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter the weapons and stuff like that. Because if you're not physically fit, you're not mentally fit. And that's why they had to really do a reorganization. And I got out active duty in 2017, and I got out of the reserves in 2020. When I got out of the reserves, I'm telling you, it's not looking good. They're at least 7 to 10 years away from rebuilding their people up again. Like, I'm not saying they got special forces. I'm not talking about special forces. Not talking about the people they sending over to Iran to put boots on the ground, which they did that. I think they put like about 5,000 people over there or something like that. Not talking about them people. I'm just talking about stateside. That's not everybody. That's a select few. They glow like the other four, like, they not ready. I'm sorry. I think the US is definitely stretching themselves way too thin. And I'll just leave it there.
All right. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Some of these. I also have somebody that know somebody that was in the Air Force, I believe, and he said he wasn't even trying, and he was already setting records when it came to when it came to pull-ups in the running test. Last person. I can. What say you? Is Cuba the next Haiti?
Hey man, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. For Iran, they're 3 weeks in. U.S. is confronted with losing $1 billion per day. You feel me? In expenditure. So I think that Iran is holding out good, and I think that's what gonna defeat America. It's not really like force. It's just to hold hold, especially, that's why you see they send in those troops, because they think they can hold the straits. You feel me? So I hope Iran can prevent that, because I think that the United States need payback for what they're doing to Cuba. I think they need payback. I think they need to fall, just like how they're working on Cuba, or they have made Cuba fall. You feel me? I think they need to fall also. I have no sympathy for for um for the big boss. No sympathy. I'm telling you.
Hey, I got ain't you a conservative brother? And you're like a Republican brother? Are you talking like this, man?
No. Hey, listen. I actually don't have a side. But I would never vote with the faggots. You feel me? But I prefer some. You feel me? But I prefer a lot of. I think black people should be more conservative for blackness, for their skin and their hair. If you may, in defense of their skin and hair, I think black people need to be more conservative. If you may, I think black people need to be more rigid, just like conservatives are, in terms of we need to take back some stuff too. If you may, I think they're setting an example to show the democratic Africans that y'all playing a little game, and y'all think they playing games, and they not playing no games. You feel me? So they're showing you that we need to take back Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, Libya, and Mauritania. It's showing you that we Africans, black Africans, need those lands. You feel me? For our people. So I wish they lose and financially fall for Cuba to get some release. You feel me? I think Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean should try to make some type of secret pipeline to Cuba, where they can get oil and diesel and gas to restart their shit. But that's out of reality. I wish that why Russia get through, feel me, and because I am sorry for them. I really feel real bad about Cuba. But black people is the target. Black people is the target. You feel me? In Cuba, in terms of, if the United States take control of Cuba, what they're gonna do is put their businesses in and have us black people at the bottom. You feel me? So I don't want America to win this war that they in, because if they win this war, right now, this war, a, a lot of Sudanese people is getting a release. Is getting a relief, because our both slave masters, have always been on a team, and we think they're not together. But the Islam and Christianity is working together against black people. You feel me? It's a whole conspiracy. They have raced for Africa, religious race, where that's why you see Muslims was doing forced conversion. You feel me? Or even now they're doing forced conversion. So what they're doing is, that's why they become 1 billion Muslim, because most of it is force and fear and and capitulation to our to the force of Islam. You feel me? To the force of what you call intimidation that people get. So that's why Islam is so big, because most of it is by force. Same with Christianity, but more milder. You feel me? Because Christianity is all of them mix bad with good. So that's what's going on with us. We are totally fragmented in our minds because of these religions that was forced on us, man. But Iran gonna win. I have faith that Iran gonna win. I'm surprised at the weapons that Iran got. I think it's superpower weapons. And if they can hold out, I think they can break America financially, because it's already in problems. You feel me? I wish they add another 2 trillion debt on America in the next few months. I hope they will keep it up till maybe 1 year, 2 year, I don't care. You feel me? But I don't think they're supposed to get the streets. Sorry to say. And
Any
Guana, I'm not on Democrat. I'm not on Republican side.
any
Go ahead, sorry.
replies?
Go ahead,
Any
sorry, sir.
Yeah, any replies, any rebuttals?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if Black Steel went. Black Steel, did you go? Because I don't want to interrupt you, brother.
I went already. Go ahead, Juan.
Yeah, I'm in two minds about it. You know, as far as Iran is concerned, because I can't bring up Iran. And the only thing I would say to that is the Caribbean. Let me speak about the Bahamas. We're already paying $5 a gallon, brother. So since we buy from the United States, that means the price of oil going up. So we could be paying $10 while they were paying $5 for gas in America. Yeah, it could really hurt us very badly, bro. And I understand, you know, you can't invade an independent country. You can't unalive the children of that country. My heart goes out to them. And it's true. I feel some way about that. You have to fight for your country. But the indirect results of that is, you know, we getting a beating right now. And now, since the price of products going up, because the Strait of if the America can't access the Strait of Hormuz, right, they have to find another way. So that means the price of everything going up in the United States.
Yeah,
We
but
buy. Well, let me finish. Like one, we buy from the United States. So now, whatever you all purchasing for one cost, we paying double for it, brother. It's a third world, so we could take a big time looking.
Guana, watch this. Watch this. It's like this. Your slave master house is burning. You prefer, just because you get in dinner and breakfast and stuff to go work, you want to go help him.
I hear that. No, I hear that. 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 I hear that.
Yeah, I'm looking for dry. I'm gonna look for dry grass to see if I can light something some more. You feel me? So what's going on? That's how I look at it. I don't care how I'm suffering. I don't care none of that. We in the plantation. I'm not gonna forget. It's unless we forget and think that, because I know you, as I said, I know you got yachts and all that. You feel
I
me?
appreciate that, but I did.
Over there in Bahamas, you feel me? On the white sand. But listen, bro, boss man, we not the power. We not white people living better than you in Bahamas and accessing better places than you in Bahamas. You feel me? Same with me in Jamaica. White people get better life, all that. I'm tired of that type of stuff. I'm tired of it. I want somebody to fall. You feel me? If I'm even there and I gotta suffer a little bit, I want them to fall. I even want to watch them goddamn fall, dude. It's 500 years of us under this bitch. Feel me? And the wickedness they are doing in front of us. You feel me? Imagine what they look. Imagine all the women that is living in darkness in Cuba. Where are the women that love women so much and fighting for all this woman stuff? Don't they see women suffering over there? You feel me? It's like our morals are like total disoriented. I don't care about America. I don't. If the light goes off, fine. Fine. So what? I want I want them to feel exactly what Cuba is feeling. I want them to feel if I could do it, I would do it too. But I want them to feel exactly that, because that shit is real powerless and spiteful. Feel me? That shit is very, very spiteful and very, very what you'd call inhumane. You feel me? And people should pay for this shit, man. People should pay for this shit. And that's why I'm telling you, they all a lot of them even close to white. And you treating them like that. You feel me? Hey, man, we have to focus on what really benefits Africa. We don't come from America. We don't have to stay in America. We don't have to be here. This is not where we come from. We come from Africa. And if we think that way, then we know that we don't have to be here with them. You feel me? We got milk and honey land. We got the land of milk and honey right in Africa. The land of gold. The land where all civilization got rich off. The Africa is the reason why America is rich and Europe is rich. That's the only reason why, and by extension, China is rich. All of them out of Africa. You feel me? All of them. So we need to understand that, and that's where our destination is. We're not supposed to be here. Start getting sorry for America when she falling. Feel me? That's why with this love and this loyalty that we hear of FBA them and all that, it gonna be sad for them when this bitch fuck up. You feel me? Because you're destroying your roots and walking on some other road. You feel me? But that's the end of my rant.
I appreciate you. I can. Anybody else? Black Steel, Buana, any last remarks here before we close out the show with some shout outs?
No, Icon made a legitimate point. You know, if the plantation is burning, you're supposed to help the plantation burn. It's indirect consequences. But I understand what he's saying. I understand what he's saying. And like I said, this is the reason why I'm in two minds about it. But I understand his perspective,
Yes,
which
boss.
is really,
Yes, boss.
yeah, which is really my perspective. However, I just have a however to it, and I in two minds about it. But I really do understand his position. I do.
And you know why?
Hold on before you, Mr. Since you know I live in the belly of this beast, right? So our gas prices are nowhere near what yours are. I think ours is like $4.15 a gallon right now. And truth be told, this is a wound that America deserves. That they deserve to get a bloody nose. I believe that this situation has gone on too long, and I feel that the American people are too asleep and they're not paying enough attention to what's going on in the world. And the biggest thing they're concerned about is gas prices. This country has disrespect the sovereignty of other nations. It's killed innocent people abroad, overseas. It's about time that America got a bloody nose. And I'm saying this as somebody who was born and raised in the United States. I don't got no love for this fuck ass country. Let them
So
suffer.
wait a minute, Black Steel. And that's the sound effect. So
Go ahead. I'm listening.
When I don't know if you have kids. So when they start crying and say, "Daddy, the light off, why the light off? Daddy, we can't afford groceries. Daddy, what's going on, Daddy? You know, are you going to tell them about the global perspective? You can tell them about the global perspective of America need to."
Well, my children are grown. They work. They both have jobs, right? They're not going to be daddy. They need to pour into this pot as a family. But I don't think that United States is going to suffer no major blackouts. Here's the thing, man. The United States can exist. We can exist without doing all the shit that we're doing. The problem is that they want full spectrum dominance. They want a unipolar world. They want a world where we jump. When we say jump, every other country in the world asks how high, right? Where the other countries, they want a multipolar world. They want a world where every country has to obey the rule of law, has to obey another country's sovereignty. So if the United States would just leave these people alone, we don't have to worry about, not only will we not have to worry about blackouts, but you guys wouldn't have to worry about blackouts. And I read this with the word about blackouts. The problem is not so much that, we got to do this stuff, but because of the extended overreach and the violence, there's enough room and enough resources for everybody. It's just one greedy country feels the need to control everything and everybody.
I glad I get you and Icon. I glad I get you all on page and you all could agree tonight. But I'm just saying that there's unintended consequences of what we talking about. That's why me particularly, I am on the fence. I in two minds about it, because there's going to be a lot of unintended consequences, and I don't know if the brothers and sisters are ready for that. I mean, we talking revolutionary talk right now, but when that become, and I see Koku, cheerleading in the background, I'm saying that when that becomes our absolute reality, and his American children who have not been experiencing blackouts for hours and hours and hours on end, they don't know that lifestyle. He knows. They don't know that lifestyle. I would like to see whether that we hold with our arguments tonight. I would like to see that as a reality.
Koku, he would, what he would say to you after that cheerleading comment. That's what he would. That's what he'd say to you, Juana. Give you a couple boos. Well, if you guys don't have anything else to say, man, you guys know what time it is, man. It's time for shout outs. It's time for shout outs. So we'll start off with Juana. Any shout outs?
Yes, sir. So let me shout out you. Yeah, Jacadero, he kept the pace tonight. With allowing the brothers them to don't clap for me yet. You know what I'm gonna say. He kept the pace tonight for letting the brothers talk. Him and Koku make a very good combination when Koku is rested and tired and whatever. He does his thing. So shout out to Jacadero. Don't forget Omaha, Nebraska, and his organization as well. And what he does in Omaha, Nebraska. Please, if you have the resources to contribute to what the young brother is doing in Omaha, Nebraska, in terms of assisting Black people with skill sets and different things of that nature. Shout out to Black Steel as well for holding on the fort in terms of South Florida and his teaching and educating the young babies, and the next generation of people. Icon Fire made some very relevant points tonight. I know sometimes Icon can be very wordy, but a shout out to him and much love to Amma, the sister Amma. The people who hold down the fort tonight. So shout out and respect to everyone who made great contributions tonight, including the chat as well, Trigger Happy and a lot. So I'll leave it there.
I appreciate it. Buana. Black Steel, what say you? Any shout outs for this week?
Well, shout out my mom. Tomorrow's her birthday. She'll be 66. What else? Just shout out everybody on the panel. That's really it today. Thanks.
Appreciate you. Black Steel in the chat, Trigger Happy gives a shout out and he says, shout out. My shout out will be to Senegal. They are standing tall against the CAF corruption. Yeah, if you don't already know, the Africa Cup of Nations soccer or football tournament happened in January. The final at least happened in January, and Senegal ended up winning. But almost 2 months later, because of what had taken place in the game, what was allowed to take place in the game, where majority, if not 90% to 95% of the team, of Senegal's team, went to the locker room with only the captain remaining on the field. The game did resume once the players 15 to 17 minutes later returned from the locker room after protesting a controversial penalty. The officials of the AFCON reversed Senegal's win and gave the win to Morocco. And they gave them 3 points, so 3-1. But Senegal's entire team, including the president of the football operations, has said that the trophy will stay in Senegal. So shout out to them. Culture Education says, shout out to Jacadero, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to each and every one of you guys. Every week, you guys are showing up. Shout out to Koku as well for allowing me to take over whenever he is not able to. So shout out to Brother Koku. If you are listening and you want to be a part, again, the Discord is there. The Bitter Medicine Podcast Discord. It's where you can share your ideas. Also share your own topics to be featured on upcoming weeks' Shoot the Breeze episodes. I am Jacadero, and I represent the Empowerment Network, the strongest Black organization for like-minded collaborations here in the Midwest. So we partner with sister cities like Tulsa, Oklahoma, Kansas City, Missouri, Memphis, Tennessee, Lansing, Michigan, and everything outside and in between. The ticker is on the bottom of your screen. Visit us at www.empoweromaha.com. We have a very new website. It's colorful. It's not boring anymore. Connect with us. In May, we always do the Rebuilding a Village Conference. 1 year, we had Magic Johnson as a keynote speaker. This year, there's going to be somebody that's pretty well known. You guys should know this person. So if you want to be a part of it, reach on. Aside from that, if there's nothing else, we'll see you guys next week. More than likely, Koku will be back. With that being said, Shemi M. Hotep, Uncle Ja Seneb Neb, and Bwana, Kwaheri Bwana. Huh? A little Swahili. You guys enjoy the rest of your guys this weekend.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.